Mark Elkins is on Facebook. To connect with Mark, join Facebook today. Join or log in. Mark Elkins is on Facebook. To connect with Mark, join Facebook today. Join or log in is with CERN. Sorry for the delay, but I wanted it to cover all aspects to the best of my knowledge. It's important to understand that the pole shift and CERN have the greatest connection. Like I've always said, everything that happens on this planet is connected to the pole shift. First, we must understand the grounds in which the Large Hadron Collider is situated on. Straddling the French-Swiss border, the 8 billion pound CERN Collider complex is buried at a depth of up to 575 feet, 175 meters. The tunnel complex runs along a 17-mile, 27-kilometer circuit. But notice that the town in France where CERN is partially situated is called Saint-Genès-Puy. The name Puy comes from the Latin Apolliacum, and it is believed that in Roman times a temple existed in honor of Apollo, and the people who lived there believed that it is a gateway to the underworld. It is interesting to note that CERN is built on the same spot. Religious leaders, the good kind, are always suspicious of the aims of the scientific world, which draws a connection to a verse straight out of Revelations 9, 1-2, 11, which makes reference to the name Apollyon. The verse states, "To him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and they had a kind over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon." Yes, you can't make it up. Truth is always stranger than fiction. CERN logo also represents 666 hidden in plain sight, just like Disney. All work for the same people. The elite always have to show you what they are about in plain sight. This is how they work. The best form of secrecy is to be as blatant as possible, which not only subliminally makes your mind accept it as normal but also is their way of sticking to the universal law of truth. Which is why the first in-your-face clue is in the actually name, CERN. The name CERN, officially, is the European Organization for Nuclear Research. The name CERN is derived from the acronym for the French Conseil Européen pour la Recherche Nucléaire, a provisional body founded in 1952 with the mandate of establishing a world-class fundamental physics research organization animation in Europe. However, CERN has a very deeper meaning. As always, the elite like to pledge allegiance through ritualistic names and gods of the underworld. CERN is short for Cernunnos, who is known in Celtic polytheism as the horned god, god of fertility, life, animals, wealth, and the underworld, which all represent flesh and power. Nothing to do with your spirituality. It is said that Cernunnos is the great hunter. He was known as the most ancient and powerful Celtic deity who was called the Lord of Wild in all things. His sons were said to be Tutates, Esus, Tyrannus or Tyrannus, who are sometimes referred to as his doubles. The meaning of Cernunnos in Gaelic and Old English and Irish is the horned one or he who has horns. This god was usually depicted in artwork wearing stag antlers and was normally accompanied by his symbols of the stag, ram, bull and holding a horned and spotted serpent or worm. The earliest known depictions of Cernunnos were found at Val Camonica, in northern Italy, which was under Celtic occupation from about 400 BC. The most famous was also portrayed on the Gundestrup cauldron, pictured above, which is a silver ritual vessel found at Gundestrup in Jutland, Denmark and dating to about the 1st century BC. The name, Jutland, would correspond with the tribe of Judah, who are also known as the Phoenicians and Greek Hellenes from Crete, who has been written about extensively in articles such as the First Jews of Crete, and the Masonic Archons of the tribe of Judah, which is always worth reading. The horned god is found on the famous Pillar of the Boatman, French Pilier des Nautes, is a square-section stone bas-relief with depictions of several deities, both dating to the first quarter of the 1st century AD. It originally stood in a temple in the Gallo-Roman Civitas of Lutetia, modern Paris, France. Image below. As most of you know, the great hunter, the bull, the stag, the ram, the serpent directly ties to the occult. Nimrod being the great hunter, the king who rebelled against God. Nimrod is the father of Tammuz, and his wife was Semiramis. Tammuz was born on the 25th of December, and the elite have managed to indoctrinate people into creating a worldwide ritual-based celebration on that day. This is how they work, hidden in plain sight, fooled the masses, as they always do. The ram represents Baphomet, which is a very used symbolic image within the occult elite. Since 1856, the name Baphomet has been associated with a sabbatic goat, image drawn by Eliphas Levi, which contains binary elements representing the sum total of the universe. As always, the like to play with minds. As above, so below is them using the Hegelian dialect, good versus evil, the continuous battle. The bull, the serpent. I think you get the picture of who they worship. Then we have to take a delve into the CERN mascot, which is the goddess, Shiva. Shiva is the third god in the Hindu triumvirate. The triumvirate consists of three gods who are responsible for the creation, upkeep and destruction of the world. The other two gods are Brahma and Vishnu. Brahma is the creator of the universe while Vishnu is the preserver of it. Shiva's role is to destroy the universe in order to recreate it. Which they are doing in a sense. They are smashing particles of the universe together to recreate the birth of the universe in a contained environment. Well, that's what they say they are doing. What they are actually doing is much worse. So just outside of its headquarters building sits an ancient statue of Shiva, ancient Apollyon, the goddess of destruction. Strange? Not when you know how they work. Connect the dots. Now let's get into the technological side of CERN so you can grasp how much power they can create and the elements that are used. The CERN collider is composed of 9,600 supermagnets, 100,000 times more powerful than the gravitational pull of Earth that fire protons around a circular track at tremendous speeds. A beam might rotate for up to 10 hours, traveling a distance of more than 10 billion kilometers, enough to make it to the far reaches of our solar system and back again. Traveling just below the speed of light, a proton in the LHC will make 11,245 circuits every second. Yes, every second. The magnet's coils, which are made up of 36 twisted 15 mm strands, each strand comprised in turn of 9,000 single filaments, each filament possessing a diameter as small as 7 micrometers. The 27 kilometers length of the LHC demands some 7,600 kilometers, 4,100 miles, of cable, which amounts to about 270,000 kilometers, 145,000 miles, of strand, more than enough to circle the Earth 6 times at the equator. Yes, that's how much cable they have, and you can imagine how much power they need to regulate it. I'll get to that later. According to the CERN website, if the filaments were unraveled, they would stretch to the sun and back 5 times with enough left over for a few trips to the moon. And I quite believe it. The unbelievable hot temperatures it can reach is more than 100,000 times the temperature at the center of the sun. This has already been achieved at CERN, by accelerating and colliding together two beams of heavy ions. CERN connects into this electromagnetic grid around us. So it's extremely powerful, and people underestimate just how much energy it can produce and how much energy it needs to function. To help them gain the energy they need. HAARP, ionospheric heaters, plays a key role in the energy transformation in Earth's ionosphere. Take us back to 1985, Sacramento, and the erection of a test antenna in the presence of Mr. Bernard Eastland, the inventor of the technology and the man behind what would become known as HAARP, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. What they are doing is transforming the atmosphere into an electrically charged plasma for various military uses, from weather manipulation to surveillance, down to the rearranging of our DNA. Electromagnetism is all around you. They have the technology to manipulate it with HAARP as long as they have the right energy formats. They depend on plasma reactions that create big bursts of energy. Then they tap into the energy waves for their own energy uses at CERN to create more power to achieve their goals. Which I'll get to. Gwen towers play a vital role in CERN's goals. 64 elements in the ground modulate, with variation, the geomagnetic waves naturally coming from the ground. The Earth's natural brain rhythm, or heartbeat, Schumann resonance, is balanced with these. These are the same minerals found in red blood corpuscles. There is a relation between the blood and geomagnetic waves. An imbalance between Schumann and geomagnetic waves disrupts these biorhythms. These natural geomagnetic waves are being replaced by artificially created low-frequency, LF, ground waves coming from Gwen towers. Gwen, Ground Wave Emergency Network, transmitters placed 200 miles apart across the USA allow specific frequencies to be tailored to the geomagnetic field strength in each area, allowing the magnetic field to be altered. They operate in the LF range, with transmissions between LF 150 and 175 kHz. They also emit waves from the upper VHF to the lower UHF range of 225 to 400 MHz. The LF signals travel by waves that hug the ground rather than radiating into the atmosphere. A Gwen station transmits in a 360-degree circle up to 300 miles, the signal dropping off sharply with distance. The entire GWEN system consists of, depending on source of data, from 58 to an intended 300 transmitters spread across the USA, each with a tower 299 to 500 feet high. 300 feet copper wires in spoke-like fashion fan out from the base of the system underground, interacting with the Earth, like a thin-shelled conductor, radiating radio wave energy for very long distances through the ground. In the UK or other smaller countries, the GWEN towers are situated closer together and range between 30 feet to 150 feet. There is much less ground mass to travel, so they don't need to be as high, therefore it's important for them to be closer together for them to be interconnected through a constant flow of low frequencies. 5G will be rolled out to intensify the manipulation of these frequencies. The United States is bathed in this magnetic field which can rise from the ground up to 500 feet, but goes down into basements, so everyone can be affected and mind-controlled. The entire artificial ground wave spreads out over the whole of the USA like a web. It is easier to mind control and hypnotize people who are bathed in an artificial electromagnetic wave. Same goes for all countries now as the projects are near completion worldwide. GWEN transmitters have many different functions including 1. Controlling the weather. 2. Mind control. 3. Behavior and mood control. 4. Sending synthetic telepathy as infrasound to victims with US government mind control implants. 5. Allows CERN to interact with the frequency emitted. GWEN works in conjunction with HAARP and the Russian woodpecker transmitter, which is similar to HAARP. The Russians openly market a small version of their weather engineering system called ELATE, which can fine-tune weather patterns over a 200-mile area and have the same range as the GWEN unit. An ELATE system operates at Moscow Airport. The GWEN towers shoot enormous bursts of energy into the atmosphere in conjunction with HAARP. The website http://www.cuttingedge.org wrote an exposé of how the major floods of the Midwest USA occurred in 1993. All connects to CERN and the coming pole shift. I will explain later. Basically, the goal is that they need the overall frequency of each victim to function at a specific rate below the threshold of awareness to allow the new dimension to occur. Vaccine implants are now smaller than a hair's width and are injected with vaccine and flu shots. Millions have had this done unknowingly. These biochips circulate in the bloodstream and lodge in the brain, enabling the victims to hear voices via the implant. There are many kinds of implants now, and 1 in 40 are victims from alien abduction statistics, though 1 in 20 has also been gauged. The fake alien abduction event, revealed to be actually the work of US military personnel using technology to make hologram spaceships outside, virtual reality scenarios of going onto a spaceship with humans in costumes, has been astutely perceived, i.e., Project Bluebeam. The alien abduction scenario has been useful to stop any further investigation or accountability of government authorities by poor victims who would face mockery and appear silly. Chemtrails also play a role for CERN, turning the sky into a battery or an antenna. The metal particulates, and the nanotech contained within, are being inhaled by us and gradually make you more susceptible to the frequency manipulators, like GWEN towers, which tap into your energy, which is just a certain frequency, to put you in a more lower state, make you conform to the norm of what the elite say, do, more control. Nanobots can be programmed to alter your DNA. Just like they do in labs. Chemtrails in the metal particulates and other filth contained within are an essential ingredient to all of this. The metals, barium and aluminium, are required to turn the atmosphere into an ionized plasma, just what is required for all of the above to be possible. Lockheed Martin are the ones behind the design of this systems, and on the face of it seems pretty harmless. Here's what Lockheed have to say about the Space Fence, one of the operations, Black Op funded, on their own site. Lockheed Martin is currently developing its technology solution for Space Fence, a program that will revamp the way the U.S. Air Force identifies and tracks objects in space. Space Fence will use S-band ground-based radars to provide the Air Force with uncued detection, tracking and accurate measurement of space objects, primarily in low Earth orbit. The geographic separation and the higher wave frequency of the new Space Fence radars will allow for the detection of much smaller microsatellites and debris than current systems. Additionally, Lockheed Martin's Space Fence design will significantly improve the timeliness with which operators can detect space events which could present potential threats to GPS satellites or the International Space Station. Space Fence will replace the existing Air Force Space Surveillance System, or VHF Fence, which has been in service since the early 1960s. The new system's initial operational capability is scheduled for 2018. With more than 400 operational S-band arrays deployed worldwide, Lockheed Martin is a leader in S-band radar development, production, operation and sustainment. The Lockheed Martin-led team, which includes General Dynamics, AT&T and AMEC, has decades of collective experience in space-related programs including sensors, mission processing, cataloging, orbital mechanics, net-centric communications and facilities. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. The space fence, HAARP, CERN, wind turbines, fracking, smart meters, Gwen towers and smartphones are just some parts of an electromagnetic prison being formed invisibly all around us and are being unwillingly used by us the consumers. They use fluoride to attack your pineal gland also. This will make you become depressed, sad, tired and less bothered about the world events taking place, which allows the elite to operate easier. That's why they put fluoride in your tap water, along with lead, aluminium and other acidic substances, all to make you ill. Then you turn to Big Pharma for prescription drugs which line the pockets of the elite. It's one big game to them. Well, they have made Earth a giant lab in preparation for what's coming. Our natural environment is being changed into an artificial construct, swimming in electromagnetic signals, with all of us slowly being integrated into this. Our natural environment is being changed into an artificial construct, swimming in electromagnetic signals, with all of us slowly being integrated into this matrix forming around us. You must understand the negative forces that they work for and worship. If you don't believe in the spiritual world, then you may as well stop reading this post now, because nothing from here on will make sense to you. The universe is full of different dimensions, different vibrations, different frequencies, different sounds. The one you are able to see is completely synchronized to your perception, our physical realm, that's our dimension. You have higher dimensions, higher frequencies, different wavelengths, strings of energy that you can surround yourself in by being of kind nature, compassionate, loving, caring and being truthful. Those things are the basis of having a good vibe, which others will feel, sense as the energy emits from you, thus attracting the positive vibrations. Then you have the lower form of dimensions, the lower frequencies, lower wavelengths, the strings of energy that most do not want to surround themselves in. These dimensions are where the evil live, the dark forces of nature, the demonic entities that feed off the energy you emit. When you get a bad vibe about a place or a person, that's your energies picking up on something. Listen to it. Both of these dimensions are all around you 24/7, waiting to attach themselves to the surrounding strings of energy that is emitted around the energy you emit. This is why the elite make sure there is false flags to create panic, fear, anger, confusion, sadness, because these are the emotions that put you in lower state of consciousness, which means they can tap into that consciousness through the lower frequency. So you see? Most of the bombings, mass murders in schools etc. are all set up for this. The elite are doing everything in their power to change our frequency and Earth's frequency to bring forth this dimension into the physical realm, which is why they all worship the same gods, which are all just the same one God. Yes, the beast, Satan, Baphomet, Moloch, Nimrod, Lucifer etc. He comes in many disguises, remember, they are all as one, the spirit of evil. The evil that comes through won't be a horned beast, it will be like us. This is why they say things like this. Sergio Bertolucci, former director for research and scientific computing of the facility, we will be able to open dimensional doors, a very tiny lapse of time, mere fractions of a second. However, that may be just enough time to peer into this open door, either by getting something out of it or sending something into it. They say this because they have already done it, opened workholes to the other dimension they are seeking. Geordie Rose is a key player at CERN. He is the driving force behind the D-Wave, interdimensional quantum computer. The D-Wave is an adiabatic quantum computer, AQC, that is described as an altar to an alien god. That's not my words, they belong to the main man at D-Wave, Mr. Geordie Rose. It's capable of accessing different dimensions on a quantum level, like a fast track to contact other beings, and even states they are summoning entities that do not care about the existence of humans. They don't just say these things for no reason, they are trying to play it down with slight humor, knowing that people will unwillingly accept it because they make it sound so normal. Please watch the video link provided to hear all what Geordie Rose says in a seminar to school graduates. Yes, he is trying to enlist them, and this video gives a very good explanation of how they work. https://youtube.be/ijkunsbc. Now we get to the part where they have to show you the CERN symbolism through television adverts, films, TV shows. In this advert, it shows a car going through a portal into another dimension. But when you see all the other symbolism, you will always notice the real meaning behind the mainstream advert. Here you will see a Peugeot car, The logo for Peugeot is a lion which represents the beast, the portal represents CERN. So the beast is coming through a quantum portal from a strange computer room into the real world. Then as they are driving over the bridge, a whale jumps over them as if it was free, and at the same time shows the whale's belly as it jumps over. This represents the belly of the beast being set free into the physical realm, and the humans are acting all happy. And even says at the end, enter a new dimension. This is how they work, hidden in plain sight. To the untrained eye you would think it's just an advert. Watch it. Then reread what I've just put https://youtube.be/obscafukebexc. Same goes of Audi, the beast, roaring car, coming through the dimensional door, the cracking of the veil, the abyss. Coming into the physical realm https://youtube.be/jwatsvrcuves. Coincidence? No such thing. Here's a video of how CERN has been shown on television for years. Round Saturn's Eye. YouTube channel has been exposing these for years. If you are religious or not, I'd suggest watching them as he does give good explanations of how they show you things in plain sight https://youtube.be/ycqknows2jaw. Here's another. The Illuminati are very satanic. Rituals are needed to gain the negative frequencies they need. They are the ones that are controlling this prison planet. https://youtube.be/lb8_vwg8. CERN symbolism everywhere. https://youtube.be/1d0gdxuhi. The opening of the tunnel, as you can see, all represents the god they serve, a ritual, and here it's the exact same concept. The zombies coming out of the abyss, the demonic entities coming through the veil. The cube of Saturn represents the matrix, Saturnalia, pagan. https://youtube.be/gl0_vdiagol4. Same again here, dancing through the matrix, the cosmic dance, ritual, in the barren land, https://youtube.be/cllqr1nmdic. I could add hundreds of videos here, but by now, if you've watched the above, you'll catch the gist of what's really going on and how they are manipulating frequencies to bring hell on earth, literally. What's the biggest tool of the underworld? Science. What does this have to do with the pole shift? First you need to understand what causes the pole shift. Every ancient religion, scripture, prophecy, book, tablets, carving, painting all depict what they experienced and showed us what they saw in the skies, how the water came to shore, how they had to run to the mountains, how they saw green men in the sky, plasma discharges, how the clouds rolled back, how the earthquakes occurred, how the volcanoes erupted, how the fish of the sea died, how the land animals perished, how mountains were moved, how deserts became oceans and oceans become deserts, how the birds fell out of the sky, etc., which refers to the Bible. Because of this the land dries up, and all who live in it waste away, the beasts of the field, the birds in the sky and the fish in the sea are swept away. Hosea chapter 4 verse 3. The civilizations from all over the globe spoke of the exact same events through the same years, even though they had no form of contacting the people around the world, and then thousands of years apart the same story has been told from different parts of the world also. That's pretty compelling evidence in itself, but it doesn't stop there. There are cities that have been found under the oceans that was covered with water suddenly, and there has been big boats found in mountains that itself speaks volumes. But what causes it? All ancient civilizations carved, painted more planets in our solar system than we are taught. Nibiru is the planet of the crossing, that is spoken of extensively in the ancient Sumerian teachings and is part of the Nemesis system. Nemesis is the central star mass and is a brown dwarf star, very dense, helium, lithium, iron oxide. The electromagnetic properties of a brown dwarf is very strong. The system has a very long elliptical orbit around our Sun. Every 3650-ish years this system comes back into our solar system and creates an immense amount of galactic energy through our entire solar system. When you watch data, you can connect the dots quite easily. The system has to come back through our Kuiper belt, asteroid belt, on its way to reach its perihelion around the Sun. 20 years ago, that's exactly what it done, and that's why every year we have thousands more fireball, near-Earth asteroids events than the previous years and the previous years before that. The magnetic power of the system grabs tons of debris as it passes it, and the system knocked tons of debris towards us as it came through. Remember the NASA live announcement about finding a solar system on the edge of ours last year? Well, this is how they work, truth mixed with disinformation. They said the stem has a brown dwarf star as the central star mass with 7 orbiting planets, and they called it the TRAPPIST 1-foot system, which is a Catholic religious order, so you know who's behind it, Illuminati, as always. So they are describing the exact same system we have spoke of for years. And spoiler alert, revolving light, it's not 39 light-years away, it's right in our backyard. The elite have known about this for a very, very long time, but 1987 was the year where some of the government agencies caught hold of what was happening and word spread. It made papers but was swiftly stopped from ever being published again due to the amount of panic it was causing. Since then, the elite have been preparing behind the scenes, building massive underground bases known as DUMBs, deep underground military bases, sorting seeds of every plant species on the planet, cryogenically preserving species of the animal kingdom, and been waging wars with anyone that doesn't agree to follow the New World Order. It's been the biggest cover-up in human history. Why? Because the very top elite know that the world would be put into absolute chaos overnight if they went public with this, and they would have the biggest uprising in human history. Their goals wouldn't be met, so they keep you in a lower state of consciousness. Keep watching the Kardashians, nothing to see here. Then you have to understand how the inclination of Earth plays a vital role in CERN's goals. Earth was locked in a 23-degree tilt for the few thousand years until around 7 years ago, when the system was within range to have an electromagnetic portal connection with all planets in our solar system. As we rotate around the Sun each year, at one point of the year we pass the incoming system, still millions of miles away, but it's extremely powerful, and as we pass it, magnetic repulsion takes place. Our south pole dips towards the system like two giant magnets battling forces. This in turn creates a Earth wobble, thus leading to the Earth's inclination changing gradually. They have underground cities, labs in Antarctica, which is why you can't go to certain areas of Antarctica, which is governed by a worldwide treaty. They also have an energy hub that runs all the way from Antarctica right up to the North Pole on the ocean floor. It's interconnected at both poles, so they maximize the energy from the charged particles that come in on the solar wind. You can actually find the seabed wall on Google Earth, but here's a video showing you it. Watch it all. https://youtube.be/rpx5c8gypsy. There is also a reason why the Great Pyramids of Giza are at the center of all landmass and replicate the constellation Orion, as do the Mayan pyramids. They were built to harness energy when certain planetary alignments occur, and they also want to replicate the heavens, which is why they also use the term as above, so below, because Nibiru is said to come from the constellations Orion, hence the replication. The Anunnaki are spoke of in the ancient Sumerian tablets profusely as the gods. However, they are connected to the fallen angels, also, who work with the underworld to make us a slave system. But not all are bad, there is more good than bad. However, the bad have the manipulation techniques to make us think the good are the minority. That's the way they want it. The elite depend on you needing them, which is why they spread so much hate, divide, fear, so that you feel the need to have them to keep things calm. Yet they do the opposite. Each year the system gets closer. The more Earth inclination we see, it will swing one way for a while and then swing back the other way as our Sun regains magnetic strength after we pass the system. When the Nibiru gets close enough to Earth's orbital path, it will come from directly under our south pole. It is very hard to see because it's so far under the ecliptic. As it rises from the ecliptic, the magnetic battle takes place. Earth's south pole will follow Nibiru as it passes. That means our poles will shift. As they are shifting, we will reach the zero tilt. CERN will only have its most energy when the Earth is at zero tilt. Do you see how it all connects? CERN depends on plasma reactions. Our Sun has been reacting to a second solar wind that interacts with the Sun's corona, causing coronal holes and large CMEs, coronal mass ejections, which create massive amounts of energy when Earth-facing as they hit Earth through the solar wind. The charged particles get pulled in at the magnetic poles, then spread through the ionosphere where the ionization process takes place. CERN depend on plasma reactions, and that's exactly what happens. That's why CERN always ramp up to max when we are expecting the arrival of a strong solar wind stream, CME. The timing is absolutely perfect. This is why dolphins, whales and birds have been washing upon shores, falling out of the sky, because the atmospheric compressions causes our magnetic field lines to be disrupted, and they all navigate by using our magnetic field. Connect the dots. The charged particles also interact with Earth's plasmatic core, creating pressure under the plates, which lead to earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, sea temperature rise, ice cap reduction, landslides, sunk holes, tidal surges, hurricanes, tornadoes, etc., etc. So the closer the system gets to the proximity of our Sun, the more interactions the Sun has with Earth. And the closer the system gets to Earth's orbital path, the more Earth wobble we see. the more our jet streams intermix and the more closer we get to the pole shift. Which means the closer CERN get to their goal. So the elite know that they don't have long. They know they can't just get rid of millions of people without people noticing, so they stage events and use weapons like DEWs, direct energy weapons, to cause fires, HAARP to manipulate and hurricanes and steer them to the populated areas. They create earthquakes, most are natural, to displace people, and do the same with volcanoes. This is all to round people up, separate as many of the gunslingers as possible, hence Obama's taking people's guns, done a post on that before it happened, and make people in a position where they have no one else to go to apart from elite-run organizations like FEMA or UN, which is exactly what they want. So they depend on the pole shift, they need atmospheric compressions from the sun, they need the Earth's tilt to alter to achieve their goals. And all of the above is happening now. The only step left is War of Distraction and Project Bluebeam. They are the last and final stages of the New World Order. If you hear of aliens all of a sudden coming to Earth, then that's the moment you get the hell out of the cities, towns, because that's when they will bring in martial law, and I mean worldwide. They have man-made crafts that can manipulate the electromagnetic forces around it to make it weightless, soon mercury around the exterior to make the central mass weightless, and even have beings that they have created for this event. Here's a video of just the basic released blue beam technology projections. So you can image how sophisticated their technologies for when the event takes place. https://u2.be/nsd6qsfe4. 95% of the world's population live near coastal areas. The pole shift causes tidal surges that devastates the coastal areas with surges up to 1,500 feet. The military will keep you where you are unwillingly by the coast because the elite have a completely different military which is funded out of the Black Op Fund, so the normal military will be expendable, I'm sorry to say. They even tell you on the New World Order, Georgia Guidestones, that they want to depopulate to 500 million people. There are 7.6 billion of us that are on this earth. Pole shift wipes out 95% of the world population. Connect the dots. People will be easier to control in the after time if there is less people, and will be easier to deceive for the one world religion. Hence the importance of them creating false flags for martial law, with Project Bluebeam, fake alien invasion, being the biggest one of them all. The blue beam technology has been set up all around the world and is in place ready for the event. It's already been tested over less populated areas and it's made the local news headlines, which is the exact reaction people want. Again, do not fall for it. The pole shift itself cannot be stopped. It's like a cleanse of the earth and had happened many times before, brought history, and is well documented. But what you can stop from happening is letting the elite use their frequency manipulators to control you. Be positive. Don't let things scare you. You have the ability to live above all of the negativity they emit purposely, and all you have to do is change your thought process. Be happy, be caring, be loving. Do absolutely everything in your power to be compassionate. You do that, the rest will take care of itself. The world is going through a transition, it's up to you how you let it affect you. I'm only here to show you truth and help you protect your physical body through the geological changes of Earth. Your spirituality is in your hands and only you can change it. Remember, you are just a sound wave, a vibration, a frequency. Nothing is truly solid. Everything is made up of practically empty particles held together by the synchronicity of our perception. You are the universe, don't let them think that you're not. Even tiny electrons have been proven to have a conscience.